Kennedy Space Center just opened up its newest attraction, Gateway. And this past weekend, I had the chance to visit and see what it's all about. So if you're heading to Kennedy Space Center, I'm going to go over all of the details of this amazing new attraction to help you plan your trip. So let's get into it. Gateway is Kennedy Space Center's newest attraction that explores the future of space travel and highlights everything that is also happening right now in the space program. The Gateway complex is located right next to the Rocket Garden near the front gates of Kennedy Space Center. And you won't miss this gigantic building with its color-changing tiles that transition between teal to purple, which was one of my favorite details of this new building. The individual color-changing tiles are all the same, but they change depending on the light and your position around the building, giving you this really cool color-changing effect. Before you step inside the Gateway, make sure that you check out the moving wayfinder signs that are located just outside the front doors. These wayfinders were developed by NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab and uses NASA's Deep Space Network to locate the positions of planets, satellites, the ISS, and the celestial bodies in the universe in real time. Once you do walk inside, wow, one thing that Kennedy Space Center knows how to do is to make an entrance. And this entrance is nothing but spectacular and gets your imagination going from the moment that you step inside. I especially love the projection of the surface of the moon that gives you this feeling like you're there. And it really is a cool experience. And this entrance is just the beginning. Once you pass through the entrance, you'll walk straight into the first floor exhibit. And one of the first things that you'll encounter is the Orion EFT-1 flight-flown capsule that was launched in 2014. This capsule was the maiden voyage of the Lockheed Martin capsule, and in this exhibit, you'll be able to learn about Orion's role in NASA's Artemis missions. There are 3 different screens that you can interact with key features of the capsule and be able to experience the launch and liftoff. Just next to the capsule is the Exploration Mission Launch game, where you can launch the Space Launch System rocket into space and put the Orion spacecraft on a path to the moon. It was really fun to be able to see people attempt this mission, and it seemed like a really popular one to try. You win the mission if you can successfully launch the rocket and put Orion into its correct orbit. If you walk further back into the room, you'll come across the SpaceX Cargo Dragon cots that were the first commercial spacecraft to deliver and return cargo from the ISS. At this exhibit, you'll learn about the evolution of the spacecraft from cargo to crew members and learn more about its design and its features. While you're here, listen to the story about the launches, the landing, and the reusability of the Dragon capsule. Right next to the SpaceX capsule is the Boeing CST-100 Starliner mock-up capsule, where you can walk straight up to a spacecraft that was designed to accommodate 7 passengers. Here you can experience a real mock-up brought to life from drawings. And if you want to learn more about the Starliner, you can use these interactive touchscreens to learn more details about the capsule and how it works. If you want to know what it feels like to be in the cockpit of the Starliner, then you can jump into the flight simulator on the other side of the room to practice the approach and the docking of the Starliner to the International Space Station. On the other side of the room is where you will see the Boeing spacesuit that was constructed by Adam Savage, who you may know from the popular show The Mythbusters. This suit features authentic elements of the suits that were worn by the Boeing Starliner astronauts. And while you're here examining this suit and see a few people doing some funny dance moves on the side, well, they're actually trying on the gloves by holding their hands above this kiosk controller and trying their hand at a few practice tasks, which was actually pretty cool. Right behind the Boeing spacesuit is the Lockheed Martin Space Habitat. Here, you can walk straight into a full-scale mock-up showing you what a moon-orbiting habitat could look like. While you're here, make sure to check out how they utilized every bit of space from the floor to the ceiling to get the most out of this habitat. Just across from the Lockheed Martin space habitat is the Sierra Space Shooting Star, which is a 15-foot long transport vehicle that attaches to the Dream Chaser space plane. This module will carry up to 10,000 pounds of cargo to the ISS. And Sierra Space designed the module to dissolve on re-entry, which disposes trash and other unwanted things from the ISS. On the other side of the building is the Life Habitat model, which is a mock-up of a large, integrated, flexible habitat, otherwise known as the Life Habitat, that can be launched on a conventional rocket and then expand to the size of a 3-story building in orbit. If you want to try your hand at being a rocket engineer yourself, then you'll want to try the Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10 rocket engine game. During this game, you'll be able to try 4 different mission scenarios of fueling and igniting the engine by mixing the liquid hydrogen and oxygen to get the engine roaring for flight. I have to admit that I tried this and embarrassingly failed like several times, but I definitely wasn't a natural like this guy. Before you head up the stairs, don't forget to check out the scale models of the Space Launch System, the Delta IV Heavy, Atlas V rockets, and the Vulcan. But once you do make your way up the stairs to the second floor, you'll get this great vantage point of the incredible SpaceX Falcon 9 booster that is suspended from the ceiling. This booster is the real deal and was launched in 2016 on its very first mission and successfully landed on what I have to say is one of the best named drone ships out there. Of course, I still love you. This booster was also used as a side booster during the launch of the famous red Tesla Roadster when they launched it into space. Also, while you're up here on the second floor, make sure to admire the Sierra Space Dream Chaser, which is a full-size replica of the world's only winged commercial space plane, the Dream Chaser. This replica is suspended as if it was flying through space, and eventually this will be used for NASA's cargo runs and will be a fully reusable space plane and will have the ability to land on existing commercial runways. Further on the second floor, you'll come across the Robotic Space Explorer's interactive wall where you can dive deeper into some key missions and use your illuminated shadow to discover spacecraft as they travel between the planets. There is also the James Webb Space Telescope holotape where you can learn how the holotape works and how its images compare to the famous Space Hubble telescope. The biggest draw on the second floor and probably all of the Gateway complex is their newest experience, which is the Spaceport KSC, where you can choose your own mission and enter into a spaceport of the future to embark on adventure on 4 different space journeys. Make sure to get here early because we came after our chat with the astronaut experience around noon, and the queue for the spaceport experience was wrapped around the entire second floor of the building. Our wait here on opening weekend ended up being about an hour and a half, so if you want to skip the line, you want to swing by here as early as possible. Once you get to the front of the line, you'll choose which adventure you want to experience, and you'll have your choice of the Red Planet, Uncharted Worlds, Cosmic Wonders, and Daring Explorers. Afterwards, you'll head down the concourse where you can peer through these digital windows for views of a really busy spaceport buzzing with ground transportation. Then you'll head to your gates until your plane is ready, and the ride itself is a motion theater ride that I wasn't able to film, but it will remind you a lot of Soarin' from Epcot, if you know what I mean. If you are spending the entire day at Kennedy Space Center and want to know what other attractions there are to see while you're here, then you'll want to check out my overview that just popped up on the screen. I'll walk you all around Kennedy Space Center and show you all of the amazing sights and sounds that you can experience in this amazing park. Until next time, everyone, I hope you have an amazing day and go out and enjoy some Florida sunshine.